What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here in this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning. So come by and say hello. All right, guys, I was kind of pulled into an interesting conversation on Discord, which I thought I would elaborate a little bit more on here. And the basic premise was, it's disappointing that lower leagues are paying more than the higher leagues. And I was specifically kind of tagged because somebody had said that I had dropped back down to gold because the earnings were better. And that's not necessarily true, right? They are, but my motivation for it was I didn't want to buy like a diamond level. I didn't want to buy a diamond level Rebellion deck, nor is my Chaos or Rift Watcher set maxed for diamond anyway. So just jumping back down into gold was where I felt comfortable and where I thought I could be competitive. And I was actually considering that, maybe people will be getting into Rebellion relatively quickly and I would just be left behind. Either way, that hasn't really been the case, but that's kind of irrelevant to this entire conversation. What I'm trying to focus in on is this specific discrepancy here, where if you are in high gold, for example, you can make 4.8 SPS versus high diamond, where you're making 4.2, right? And it's similar across the board for mid gold and mid diamond. Now, this is really just what I was calling like the sweet spot. Like gold is the sweet spot. I have a theory for this, and it only applies to Modern because that's where the real players are. I think there's a lot of automated accounts in Wild, and you can see that this does not happen in Wild, right? Like you can, if you just go across the bottom here, these are the Wild pool stats. Gold here makes at a high gold makes 0.86 versus high diamond is more than twice that, 1.85, right? And then if you get all the way up into champion, you're making multiples, right? 3, 5, 7, 12. So my theory on this is that people playing in Modern, let me put it this way. The player base that plays in Modern, really probably the player base that exists within Splinterlands, is made up of diehard, hardcore fans of people that want to just compete at the highest levels. So what do I mean by that? Well, okay, let's say we have like 1,000 real players or 5,000 real players. It doesn't really matter what the number is. My whole point with this is that a disproportionate amount of them are trying to play at the highest levels. And because of the fact that this game is still very niche and it doesn't have more of a casual player base, the lower leagues end up being somewhat empty because nobody wants to play in them. And we saw this maybe, like 6 months ago or earlier in 2023. About 6 months ago after the SPS staking requirement went live, we saw that bronze just completely opened up, right? Bronze, nobody was playing down in bronze. So all of a sudden you could make a disproportionate amount of return in bronze based on the investment that you had to make. And so a lot of people started firing up their alt accounts. I was even doing the same thing, right? Where it's just like, this is kind of crazy that you can just earn this much in bronze. I think I was getting like 1 to 2 SPS per win at the highest levels of bronze. And I barely had any cards, or I was just renting a couple of things here and there. So the point that I'm trying to make is that with the player base that we have, we don't have the traditional kind of proportionality where, at the highest levels, it's just a few elite players. And as you go down the long tail, there's actually more players right in the lower leagues. It's just that at this point in time, especially during a bear market and coming out of a bear market before the bull run hopefully hits, you still have just those hardcore players that have been acquiring assets in the game, soulbound reward cards, packs when, Chaos Legion packs when they were being given out, or buying their cards that they need, or renting their cards to try and get up to the highest levels, because everybody wants to be able to play in champion and get 14 to 23 SPS per win, right? I mean, we're like about a third of the way into the season, and the winnings are still really good in champion. So what does that mean, or what does that tell me? Well, you got a lot of people in diamond, right, that are trying to chase that champion level rewards. And therefore, because of that, there's a disproportionate amount, right, of people that are going into going into diamond thinking that they can reach champion. Now, you have folks like myself who are just kind of happy in gold, and maybe gold is let's put it this way, gold is kind of like, in my opinion, it's a sweet spot, but maybe it's also the weird middle child for some people, where it's like, okay, if you want to play in, the lower levels, then that's fine. Gold is like, you'll need to make a 2x investment of whatever you have in silver. And then to go from gold to diamond, you need to make another 2x investment. Again, this is just roughly the case from a card level perspective, right, or the amount of BCX that you need. So if you're going to have a good amount of players that are at the extremes, right? So you got a bunch of hardcore players that are coming in. They're all going to try and get max level decks or even take their gold level decks and play at the highest levels. On the flip side, if your other, players are comprised of, people who are coming in who don't have as much to, throw towards a gaming budget or don't have as much to buy cards, they're going to be battling it out in the lower leagues, which leaves, like I said, gold once again, for whatever reason, right? We're reaching the same conclusion as this weird middle child or the Goldilocks spot. So, that's kind of like my analysis for this. And as we go further, hopefully into a bull run 2024, 2025, my thought on this is you'll start to see people who come in that, if we can continue to grow the player base, who will start to, you'll either see new players come in who will start to slowly level up their deck and play in, bronze, silver, or gold and work their way up organically, or you'll have other folks who've been playing in silver for a while start to take some of their earnings, especially if SPS starts going up. This is the key part here. If SPS starts going up, they're making 1.9 SPS per win right now. If SPS does, 10x, or 10x might be a little high, but you get what I'm saying. The higher SPS goes, the cheaper packs are when priced in SPS, right? If you burn that SPS for DEC, it's always going to be 4,000 DEC. Whereas the SPS, if the higher it goes, the less amount that you would have to burn for DEC. So you might get folks who organically work their way up just by playing the game. They have a silver level collection and maybe they're like starting to stretch into gold. But for the time being, gold just continues to be the sweet spot. And that's kind of where my thesis lies, right? It's just, you got a lot of people who are chasing the top tier rewards because they are worth it. And then, everybody else that cannot chase the top tier rewards, a majority of them are playing in the lower leagues in, bronze and silver because the jump from silver to gold is very significant. So I think that gold probably just ends up being a lot of folks who don't want to make that commitment to the higher levels, are happy, maxing out for gold and are just going to stick around there, which at this point in time seems to be much smaller or much smaller percentage of the player base than we have in Diamond and going up into Champ. But that's all I got in this video for you guys. Just wanted to share a little perspective there. And of course, get your thoughts on this. Let me know how you are viewing this. If you think my thoughts are right or wrong, or however you are interpreting, the data here that we're all looking at, how would you think that this would break down? But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. That's all I have for you guys in this video. I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.